Hi, good evening. Welcome to SISTABIZ, another episode of SISTABIZ. My name is Tamara Brown. I'm joined with Miss Nicole Orr. Uh,
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Very good, very good. Um, we have a special guest this evening, and I believe he's backstage. I'm going to try to coordinate getting him in. So be patient with me. Nicole, did you want to talk to us about some things this week going on until I can get our guest in?
Woo. Where do you want me to start? First of all, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Good, good. Well, I will say I started out that I am 100%. I'm just coming off of, I had to go for a walk around the neighborhood after I saw that Baltimore City has officially said that they were going to deploy all of these resources to the Fells Point neighborhood. Um, I applaud Fells Point for standing up to this current Baltimore City administration. However, Baltimore has become a tale of two cities, and it's where is this equity? I'm 100% frustrated. I think the decision today to do that, while I applaud the Fells Point, business owners and the community for stepping up and saying enough is enough. But where is the equity? Where is the equity for all Baltimore City, business owners, citizens? 100% disgusted. So that's where I am with
Right.
it. But I do want to give a plus one. I know I'm probably one of his biggest pains. John Bullock, City Councilman, District 9. I know I'm a pain in his butt. But I got to give him one brownie point. He's getting ready to have something that's coming up where he's going to teach people in conjunction with Councilman Porter and Burnett about civics. So I think that that's great that he is stepping up to the plate. So, fifth year. So we shall see. Hopefully he does something. I won't be holding my breath, but thank you.
Okay, well,
That's it.
we're giving council members kudos for doing their job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm happy. Plus one for him. He's got plus one.
That's
So,
great. That's great. That's great. So today we did want to talk about some food inequities and some other issues
mhm.
and things going on. But yeah, I do concur with you. I mean, I think a lot of I've spoken to so many business owners that walk out of their stores or shops and they see a dead body, or there's a murder that's committed in front of their businesses. And I remember speaking to a woman that owns a salon and a boutique in Councilman Stokes' district, and she was just trying to get a hold of him, just to get a response back from him in general about a murder that occurred, and constant murders and drug dealing going on in front of their stores there on Charles Street, right just north of North Avenue. And they just can't even get a response from a council member, much less, uh, you know, like almost an executive order to, traffic and all the things that are going to happen in Fells Point so quickly. They can't even get a response, much less any action to cure the issues that are going on.
It was less than 24 hours. They issued a threat to the city that they were going to withhold taxes. Businesses signed a petition. Again, I applaud their efforts. I think it's great. It's phenomenal that they were able to come together. However, I'm disgusted. And I think that, I don't know, as Black people, what we're going to do, but we're going to have to unite, because I don't care what grievance we have with the next. This is getting bad, and this is getting serious. So I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. Again, I had to take a walk, around, because I just don't know how much more I really want to invest in the city. It's that bad. So, and we're waiting for our guests.
Sorry, I'm trying to coordinate now. Sorry.
Oh. So, where's the equity? I don't know. They hired an equity officer. We have a question that's asking, where's the equity? I'm not sure where the equity is. They say that they're for equity, but right now it's the tale of two cities. If I drove down Pratt Street from one end to the next, That's telling in itself. So I'm just saying, all we're asking for Baltimore City's Black administration is to do for all. You do for one side, do for all. So if that's but we're not finding that.
Yeah, and every candidate, particularly our current mayor, ran on a platform, equity, equity, equity. Again, it's a cool word to use. Apparently, it's not so cool to actually enforce. And I just think that the Baltimore City residents should be very tired of candidates running on platforms that they can't back up. They have no intentions of backing up, and they just won't back it up. They won't back it up. What does equity mean? I'd like to know. It definitely doesn't mean like providing the same services to different neighborhoods. Clearly it doesn't.
We have an open air drug market that has set up operation literally around the corner from our store. We've had so far 3 people actually murdered, not shot, murdered, and crickets. He came to get pizza though. So, and I won't lay it all on Brandon Scott because, again, the violence is above his pay grade. However, I will lay what happened today on his doorstep, and it is a slap in the face to every neighborhood in Baltimore City. It's just a slap in the face, and Brandon Scott, you ought to be ashamed. Ought to be ashamed.
Really. I mean, he ran and always said, I'm from Park Heights, and this and that happened to me in Park Heights and Park Heights and Park Heights and Park Heights. And I've never seen this amount and this level of commitment to ensuring that crime or gatherings or things were kind of deterred in Park Heights. Certainly, you shouldn't just have a preference in the neighborhood just because you're from there. When you're the mayor of a city, you should run the city, and the entire city should be treated equally, regardless of who the residents are, the colors of the color or the skin color, or even economics of the neighborhood. You are responsible for the entire city, and there should be equity in that. And so I don't.
So what is he doing for Park Heights? Because
what is he doing for Baltimore City? I mean, I know we tend to be very neighborhood focused in the city, and north, south, east, west, but as a whole, I would have liked to have seen the residents of Fells Point say they weren't going to pay their taxes because there was a murder in Northwest or West Baltimore or East Baltimore that didn't affect them. We have to come together as a city and stop this just neighborhood centric ideal, or we want this one neighborhood to thrive. We want the whole city to thrive. And some areas are going to always thrive. So you have to, it's just the selfishness that I always talk about, and the self-focused and the self-preserving nature of most people these days. It's just, it's not about the whole city. It's about a certain neighborhood. It's about my neighborhood. I mean, one murder is too many. A life is a life, no matter where it happened. And I would love to have seen this type of rigor in every murder that happened in the city thus far. Like, the numbers are just too high, period, no matter where it happened. But we're not coming together as a city.
No, we're not. And I don't see it ever really, not right now, coming to fruition, because when you read some of those comments that were made, they specifically, like, people from Fells Point were saying, well, you guys don't respect the police over there in West Baltimore and all of this other stuff. And my thing is that, first of all, they did not defund the police. So last time that I checked, they were being paid to protect all neighborhoods.
That's correct. When they asked for our votes, they didn't say, do you respect the police? And how do you respect the police? Respect has to go both ways. Mm-hmm. And it's great for people in Fells Point to say they're getting the service simply because they respect the police. But I'm sure some of them were on Capitol Hill and on June 6th, and those same people allegedly respected the police, and they were murdering or assaulting police. So this whole respect the police, I didn't know that was a requirement, a mandatory requirement in order to get services. So can I get my money back that goes to paying the police if I don't respect the police and you don't want to do work? I mean, honestly, I don't respect anybody in City Hall and most of the people working for the city. So can I, or, you know, the state. So can I get my money back? I still got to pay taxes, right? Out of any money that I make, I still have to pay property taxes for the city. Yeah, what is this with the respect? I don't understand it. So if you don't respect the resident, can I get your badge since you don't? I mean, yeah, I think we're having from some odd, strange reason we can't get Doc Cheatham on. I sent him the same link that we're using, but I cannot seem to get him into the show. So I'm gonna try again, Nicole, and we could talk about, like, recently the budget was, you know, I see the budget was finally approved. What, 4.6 billion? Was that what it was?
It was, and they did not defund the police. The police actually got more money. So
$5 million,
you know, but no money hardly towards the minority business. I think they may have increased it. We'll say what, 200,000 or something. So they need a lot more. The different or other organizations, they still need a lot more. I just encourage people to kind of just tune into it, you know, and find out like what is going on. Listen to the Board of Estimates meeting. I believe they start at 10 o'clock every Wednesday. You can also catch it on like that Charm City TV. But Nick Mosby is so gracious to have the link on his page where you can watch it directly from his website. So kudos to him for that. And it's just imperative that a lot of people become abreast to what is going on because we are under attack. I don't know what else to say. From all of the fires that have been allowed to occur, and this is what I'm going to say, have been allowed to occur in the West Baltimore neighborhood. Look at the amount of commercial properties that have caught on fire within the last 4 months. It's astounding. So I'm carrying it until they come back on the show. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. The fact that we have had close to 4 fires right on West Baltimore Street, and no one wants to technically put the name of arson because that is what it is. I know it is. I have a building that's on West Baltimore Street and I fear for it. While it's insured and getting ready to go up under renovation, my thing is that people are trying to burn people out so that they can buy these properties for cheap. It happened to the one next door to me. Now they're threatening to put the property in receivership and the people have owned it for less than a year. I can go on and on and on about what is going on. And people just really need to stay tuned and stay focused because if we don't, then we're in trouble. So I'll take questions from the audience because like right now I am alone here. So whatever anyone wants to ask, yes, I'm disenfranchised. I listened to that and I went for a walk and here we are. So go ahead. What do I think will change? What I think will change the neighbors, pretty much Baltimore City, is going to be for people to definitely start educating ourselves, to get in contact with a lot of the grassroots organizations that are out here that are doing the work. The people that are not necessarily dependent upon the current government or any government, to be exact, to basically fund their situations that, you know, that are out here doing the work. We need to start getting in contact with these nonprofits that are out here doing the work. So that is what I think is going to change this. We need to stop being going and voting for the names that are popular, voting for the people that do not necessarily have our best interests at heart. We need to start cutting their tenure short. If they've been in office for 3 to 4 years or whatever it is, 4 years, and they have not made a difference, why are we promoting them to other positions? Is it supposed to get better? I'm asking. I'm asking for myself. I'm asking for my kids. I'm asking for my friends. I'm just asking, is it supposed to get better? So that is what I think is going to change this, for us to become more engaged, to start holding these leaders accountable, to definitely get in contact with our grassroots organizations, the ones that are out there, the ones that are out there that are giving away their own food to people. I watched this guy on my Facebook. He's like going around collecting food so he can give it out. He's not asking the government for anything. And I'm not saying that the government is the ultimate answer. I'm just saying that we have to start back to the basics. We used to do it. We used to have more grassroots organizations. We used to be in tune to who we were trying to put in the positions of power. We have a lot of leaders that are not leaders.
That's correct. Thank you. I'm sorry about that quick departure. I had to coordinate.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And I do think that there's an issue with what Donnie said. We do vote brands and not action. So until the constituents start actually voting and holding the leaders or the people that are in office accountable, we're going to end up with the same brand. And that's what happens. So, yeah, absolutely. We're seeing that today. We were promised a lot. We're always promised a lot, and we're going to have to get frustrated, and we're going to have to get frustrated enough to make change. And I see so much change in so many other cities, and it's frustrating to me to see a city where so many of us are here and we're not coming together. A lot of the nonprofits are doing some really great work, and it would be great if we could all just come together. I say this all the time. We need to come together as on one accord, and it's difficult to do. And the city, these people are counting on us not doing that, so that they could continue to put in people in office that don't need to be in office. So we really have to make a very strong, consistent effort to support each other. There's often rift between nonprofits and a lot of the activist organizations for personal reasons, and those personal reasons have nothing to do with the mission. Me being a veteran, it was mission focused. I could, my buddy, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to be, we may have some disagreements, but when you're on that battlefield, you have to support each other. And that's the bottom line. We are at war. We are battling corruption. We are battling misappropriation of our votes. It's a misappropriation of our votes. And we have to work as a team. So we have to put all personal things aside to get this done. And I think that's just the challenge in the city. Everyone's like, oh, well, where were you at during this? And what were you doing then? That definitely has to stop. So I look forward to seeing some change. I really think people are frustrated right now. And I'm looking for a real strong movement to push these individuals, I won't call them leaders, out, just to push them out.
But sometimes they have to be called out, and I'm hot. I'm hot about, it's disgusting. There's no other word for it. You can stand and dance around and rap to Wu-Tang, and you can send these people over. I know it's just because it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And he doesn't, he's on my Instagram page, but he's not a supporter of my business anyway. So I'm just going to speak freely. My thing is that anyone that thinks that what happened today is acceptable, will he do it for your neighborhood? You just need to ask yourself, because he hasn't did it for where I am. And I had a boy shot right in front of my store. Granted, he was not in office at that time. It was Jack Young. But at the same time, I've crickets. I haven't seen Brandon. We had West Baltimore, business owners that wanted to meet with Brandon. Again, crickets. And we are surrounded where, again, 3 murders have occurred. And yet people get out of their beds every day, come into the city, because a lot of us don't live in the city, come into the city to provide resources for people that live in the city. Again, crickets. So yeah, and I was rooting for him at first. I like Sean. And I was rooting for Brandon. But today, I have no respect. I've lost it, because today was disgusting, and I'm really disgusted about it.
Wow. Well,
Wu-Tang to that. because I'm just,
You in the wood.
I'm
You in the
so
wood.
livid. I'm livid about it.
Brandon does the whole, the excessiveness. And I mean, Wu-Tang is great. Who doesn't love Wu-Tang? You know what I mean? But when you're a mayor and your city's on fire and you're walking around, talking about that, I think he wants to be relatable. And he utilized that entire, the Sons of Baltimore and things like that. I'm born here. I'm from Park Heights. He wants to be so relatable. Perhaps you would be more relatable if you really just genuinely did your job. It's a lot of fronting going on. It's a lot of faking going on. And that's all it is. It's a lot of front and faking. And he does that to be relatable. He wants to be looked at as, oh, it's a cool mayor. I think that the youth and everyone would think he was a cool mayor if he just did his job, did the things that he said he was going to do. I know a lot of folks will say, hey, we need to give him some time. But again, when you run and say, I'm going to hit the ground running, everybody, all the candidates said they're hitting the ground running. But now there's this learning curve and it's going to take me time. I'm not giving you any time. I'm not, there's no time.
And not to mention everything that he pretty much said he's backtracked on, down to the defunding of the police. We're still a food desert in West Baltimore. I mean, and then if you really want to talk about it, those same people that he may be identifying with, let's talk about who the jobs are really going to. The city almost attacked ransomware. And guess what? They go to Virginia. I pulled up the other day alongside of a BG&E contractor. Guess where they came from? New York. So my thing is that our Baltimore City citizens not good enough to employ at any point on any contract?
Well, I've said before, I think on the last time I was on the show with Donnie, you have agency heads that drive a lot of this. And a lot of those the IT contract you're talking about was probably considered an emergency. And therefore it wasn't a contract that needed to be procured, or it wasn't a competitive bid. And when you have an agency head that says to me, I'm so pro Baltimore, was my car made in Baltimore? And we don't have any places that make cars in Baltimore. This isn't Detroit, not yet anyway, economically. That's that type of mentality. Now this individual, the person that runs Baltimore City Information Technology Group is from Baltimore, born and bred, a son of Baltimore, but you got a problem with me when I get on you to say that you're not contracting with Baltimore businesses. And his mentality was that they didn't have the expertise in any of these areas, which, I was on with Donnie and he's looking it up on his phone. Like, you look at cybersecurity, you'll find businesses in Baltimore City. In the surrounding area, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County, again, the NGA, the national NGA is right here. That's high intelligence, high cybersecurity jobs are there. And there's minority businesses that do that. Not even minority business, just a local business. So that's why you see that. You see trucks from California. You see trucks from all over the United States and businesses from all over the United States getting business, getting our tax dollars, using our money and leaving the state and building wealth in their areas, while our city just that $4.6 billion. Let me quote exactly how much it was that the budget was approved for. All that money, a very small fraction of that money is going to come back into Baltimore City. It's all going to go out. A lot of it goes out of state.
They don't care, because I personally just feel like the next 10 years, Baltimore City is just not going to be what most people see currently. Now, to some effect, I will say that we do need to stop the murders. Number one. That's just number one. So yes, we all want to see that change. But business-wise, will it be any Black businesses? I don't think so.
Well, probably.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't. Will it be any Black people?
No. I mean, that's the plan, to make sure that I think that we're not here. This is a valuable city. The land is valuable. The geographical location is valuable. It's valuable, and we're not supposed to be here. So if you deprive something enough, it's going to suffocate. And everything is being deprived, from the food with the food deserts to the economic empowerment to stores, just retail in our area? You know, what is there to do in our neighborhoods other than, you know, stand on the street corner? Like what activities, what rec centers, what's available to us? So you're stifling things. And what the administration is doing is they're using excuses. And there's a fire, I always say the city's on fire. And when a fireman comes, they don't say, you know, they don't knock on your door and say, you know, there's a fire in your house. They're going to break the door down. They're going to bust the windows. They're going to come in and they're going to rescue you. And there's not going to be any excuses. Well, we weren't used to this kind of building, and so we had to go back and get some training before we came to rescue. They're going to bust in and they're going to do their job. I need the administration to understand that they have to bust down doors and break windows to save the city. Oh, our guest is on. Hi, Doc. Cheatham. How are you?
How are you?
I apologize for the technical difficulties that you had. I should have let you know that Chrome isn't very friendly with our streaming service. Welcome.
Honored to be with you.
Yes. So we've been talking about just city issues in general. We wanted you just to give a quick background on, you know, who you are if someone just so happens not to know who you are or don't know, and what you're doing and where you're doing it in your neighborhood. Like, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, have been retired. Been retired for about 6 years, 41 years with the federal government. I've had the unfortunate pleasure of being president of 3 civil rights organizations. I was first president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. I left them, and then I was recruited and I became president of the NAACP. I'm happy to say out of 1,800 branches nationwide, we were number 1 while I was president. And then I thought I had retired from them, but I got a phone call from Reverend Sharpton, so I took over the National Action Network in Baltimore City. So I've done a lot of civil rights work while working for the federal government. I was head of the election board for Baltimore City. I am a Coppin alumni from I'm going to say it too loud, 1971. So it's an honor. I'm right now retired, and I am president of my community organization. This is the 4th time I've been president. I've had 2 presidents that have passed away, and I came back to be president. I guess my legacy is I've built the park. The park is named after me in the 1500 block of McKean. And just this past Friday, the budget committee for the city of Baltimore approved of my $650,000 budget, and we will be building a skateboard park, the first skateboard park in a Black community in the entire state of Maryland. We're hoping between now and next year, we will build a skateboard park. But I had to give credit to Hamden. We partnered with the predominantly white neighborhood to build this skateboard park. So just staying busy doing things to, I guess, profit my community for the little time I may have left.
Well, say that, but yeah, I think you have a long time left with us, hopefully.
Congrats on that. Congratulations. That's big.
I should say this, that I got an email today and yesterday from the Japan embassy. The embassy has been informed that we are having a skateboard park built, and they came to visit us last year, and they're now going to interview my team from Japan, because on the 24th of July, the Olympics will be in Japan.
Hey, Marvin, I'm sorry. Do you have another computer or phone? Do you have something else on? Because it's a little bit of feedback.
No, other than the phone. Okay. I put the phone over, but
thank you. I can hear you pretty well.
Yeah, it probably was too close to the.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right.
Some may say, "Oh, okay, Doc. Why a skate park in a Black neighborhood? Our kids don't skate." What's your response to that?
First thing I would tell them, you don't know anything about skating and what's happening in our communities. 7 years ago, I was campaigning in Hampton. Hampton was an area in the 40th district, and I was up there, of course, campaigning in all communities, black and white. And while I was campaigning, I could hear kids calling my name, "Hey, Doc Cheatham, hey, Doc Cheatham." And I looked, it was my kids from my neighborhood who had skateboarded all the way up to Hampton, which is about 3.5 miles, and they were skateboarding up in Hampton. What we had to tell folks, I don't blame them for their ignorance. I just hope that they will understand they need to learn what they don't know. There's no accident that right now the greatest gymnast in the history of being a gymnast is a black girl. Years ago, they weren't even doing gymnastics. I just think we had to introduce our community to what's going on, and it's only a matter of time we will be great at it. Tiger Woods was no accident, and I'm telling folks, skateboarding, they may not know about what's going on with skateboarding, but our kids are actively involved. And on July 24th, which is my birthday, the first day of the Olympics, 2 African-American kids will be in the Olympics competition because they skateboard. And one of the greatest singers that we know, hopefully bringing him up, Terrell Williams, is an average skateboarder. And I'm trying to get him to come and sing the Happy song. As a matter of fact, if you go on my website, you will hear him singing the Happy song because that's my theme song for skateboarding.
Well,
so we can do anything. We just have to be introduced to it.
We can, and I'm going to confess that I used to skate back in my day, and it was very rare. Throwing a pop to an ollie, or so back then there weren't any. I enjoyed it. It was just something I did. And I think when children, when you present them with something, they're going to try it. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the injuries. I tried it for a short time and it worked for me. But I used to be a skater chick, and I can admit it. So I had a cool skateboard, and so I get it. It was just something fun to do. So
it's challenging though. I had 3 skateboards, but with the stroke that I had last year, I don't think I'm going to be skateboarding anytime soon.
So how does the community at large, how does your community at large feel about the skateboard park coming to the community? Have you gotten a lot of support from that?
They're excited about it. We actually did a fundraiser during Kwanzaa last year and raised money because some of our kids may not be able to afford a skateboard or the helmet or arm pads. So we actually bought them. So we have some skateboards sitting aside. We want to give them away to the kids. We did have what's called a pump track. A pump track is a miniature skateboard. And last year we brought a pump track up to Easterwood, and our kids not only skateboarded, they rode their bicycles on it. I'm sad to say that our good old friends, the dirt bike boys, they were riding on the track. So our kids can adjust to anything. We just have to introduce them to it, tell them the precautions that they need to take, and let them go. I tell folks it's no accident that we have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever quarterbacking with us, but what he did is not different. If folks would look at the history of Lenny Moore was the first person that caught the ball and ran with the ball. And right today, almost 40 years later, he still holds the record for catching and running touchdowns. Our folks are ingenious. We're great people. We're kings and queens. We just have to let our kids know how great they are.
Wow, I look forward to seeing that. Nicole, did you have some questions?
No, I'm definitely impressed. I always say no, and then I got a question. But I do wonder how, the partnership with yourself, your organization in Hampton worked.
It's interesting. They're probably 99% white. We're probably 99% black. But, I did civil rights for at least 35, 40 years. So, I'm accustomed to dealing with, controversial issues. But the main thing is bringing people together, knowing you have differences, but knowing you probably have more in common than you do in opposition. use as a define the commonality of what you're trying to achieve. What I was trying to achieve, we are the Freddie Gray area. Penn North is just where people celebrated. The damage that was done during the rally, during the Freddie Gray riots, was not at Penn North. The major damage was done in my neighborhood, Matthew Henson. We had 13 businesses hit. And even today, the majority of our elected officials had no idea even where Matthew Henson is. So it's challenging. But when you can bring people together, and if the major issue is bringing children together, there's nothing you shouldn't be willing to do to find better things for kids to do. When we had the riots, I knew my kids had no place to play. And I kept saying, if I'm a leader of this community, I got to address that problem. And I'm happy to say that the park that we built, I didn't want them to name the street after me, but they named the street after me. But I give God all the credit. God gave me the vision to build a park for our kids. It was one of the biggest drug areas in the neighborhood. I even had Mayor Kathy Pugh try to confront me and say that the neighborhood wasn't inundated with drugs. She accidentally, at the end of walking through my community, she went into a store, and lo and behold, they didn't know who she was. They tried to sell her drugs. She said, "Oh, the Lord have mercy." I said, "I've been telling you."
Did she take them?
Huh? No, no comment.
I mean,
it's hard, but even today, as a result of that confrontation that the mayor and I had, because we had about 200 people walking through the neighborhood, we have today. This is the 4th year, and we actually have police sitting outside of our park area. We met with the Chris, we met with the Black Gorilla family, and they even support the park because they know their kids got to play there also. And I would say it may be one of the safest small parks in Baltimore City. That's because folks get an understanding. It's all about the kids and doing what's best for the children.
That's great.
And I'm just a child at heart.
I appreciate your work. Any activist that's getting things done. I'm not sure how you're getting anything done in this city, but it seems that you've been trying for quite some time, and you're making.
Well, I paid the price. I paid the price. I filed a lawsuit against the mayor. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing.
I'm all ears to this.
Yeah, Nicole's ears just went lawsuit against the mayor.
I filed a lawsuit against the mayor for illegal arrest. We met.
Not this mayor, though.
At the time.
Which mayor?
No, this was the mayor was Martin O'Malley. And I met with Martin O'Malley, my board and I said, you got to stop this. You arresting my people. They're getting criminal records. And then you basically are letting them go, but they still have the records. And he said, well, Doc, you got to do what you got to do. And I got to do what I got to do. I said, well, I had 3 attorneys that represent me. I will see you within a month. I sued him on 2006. By 2009, we had won the lawsuit. There was a lawsuit. I was one of the major plaintiffs, and I sued the mayor for arresting my people. I did something similar with not Kathy Pugh. Yes, I guess it was. No, it was Sharon Blake, Mayor Blake. I recommended through my community that they tear down the Confederate statues. I was told you couldn't do that. It's a white neighborhood. You're from a black neighborhood. I said, I don't care. They're in Baltimore City. Those statues should not be here. My community takes credit for tearing those statues down. Even though the mayor decided to do it at night and did not invite us, we take credit for being done. Our community takes credit for getting former felons their right to vote. I was the one who instigated that legislation to give former felons the right to vote. It had never been done in Maryland before. I know that God has had a plan for me, And I just say, just keep using me, Lord, and I'll do whatever it is you send me the direction to do. And right now, the goal is to get a food market. And I'm sad to say the Greater Baltimore White Committee, because it's got to be Greater Baltimore White Committee, because they don't do a damn thing for us black folks. I'm trying to get them to know all black folks are vegetarians. My oldest son is. There are people that are vegetarians, but we eat chicken, we eat steak, we eat ground beef, we eat fish. So don't try to feed me vegetables and fruit and think that I'm going to be satisfied. Half of my community is in Sandtown. The average age of death is 70 years old in Sandtown. If I go to Roland Park, the average age of death is 90 years old. Health has something to do with it, and what we put in our body is the major cause. And I got a city councilman, he's worried about whether it's a mile or quarter mile. I told him I'll give a damn whether it's an eighth of a mile.
Who's your city councilman?
My councilman is James Torrance. And I said, young guy, you're very intelligent, very bright, but you got to educate yourself that if we have people who live in, let's say, Sandtown, Winchester senior homes. If we have people living in Gilmore homes, if we have people living in Harvey Johnson Towers, we have people living in Holland Gardens, we have people living in Rosemont Gardens. These are all federally subsidized buildings, which means, one, they don't have the money that everybody else has, and in most cases, they do not have transportation. We need to provide them with transportation. We can let a billionaire build something down in the harbor. We give him tips. We can have a company called Under Armour, and we make a mistake, quote unquote, and we allow him to be in the opportunity zone. We have hotels downtown in Baltimore who don't pay water bills. We have what's the place where the apartment place is?
We got a whole neighborhood of business owners that just got all this police protection while we have all the murders.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to go against other communities, but it's no accident that someone of another ethnicity can get shot and killed, and 3 or 4 weeks later, we find them. Well, the community I'm in, Sandtown, which is the Western District, we average 50 homicides a year. Some cities don't have that many. We're averaging 50 homicides a year, and we got 50 liquor stores. And you mean to tell me we can't find a way to have a food market? It's unbelievable.
We can't provide a
Keys was the name of a business where they were getting 2 days trash deliveries. We get 1 week trash delivered. They were getting 2 trash pickups a day. And now down where Fells Point is,
Cross Keys, at the time they were getting 2 trash pickups. Kim Morton is a resident of Cross Keys and some other folks. And Kim Morton was the chief of staff, and she also worked for DPW at some time. So that's why they were getting the extra trash pickups, because the administration, she was running it. Jack Young was not running the administration. Kim Morton was. And Kim Morton, like that happened. The inspector general did an investigation and failed to mention that in there. So the city is applauding this inspector general for doing some investigation. We don't know how many she turns away. We just know she saved the city of $7 million, and we're gonna clap for that. When really, I can tell you, it should be more. So I'm sorry. I just had to say,
y'all are sharp. Y'all don't need me on this show.
We need you. We need you. Because I'm enjoying I'm definitely, we need you, because it's a lot of insight and you're a wealth of information. A lot of mine just comes from frustration. I don't have that political background, but I just do not like what I am seeing. I do not like how businesses are being treated. Like I'm just frustrated. Like, I am so frustrated, and I don't know. I applaud you for being in just service for so long, because I'm here to tell you the way that this administration, not just Brandon's administration, but the last 25 years of Baltimore City will have you, I don't know, voting Republican or independent. I kid you not. And that's some scary stuff. You know what I mean? Looking at the last Republican that came out of office as president. But when we talk about this administration, again, not just this current one, but just the last 25 years, it's scary.
Well, it's scary, but it's sad when you think. I live in West Baltimore. We've been represented by Democrats that are African American for 35 years. We should not be in the state that we're in, and that's because our people who look like us, they've been selling us out. And it's funny, I have an invitation or a doctorate degree. I haven't earned one, but when I received my doctorate degree from Sojourner Douglas, my theme song was as a result of Michael Jackson dying. And that song I'm still using on my website. All I really know is that they don't really care about us. And that's what the city of Baltimore has displayed to me. If you're Black, if you're poor, this city has not done a thing for us. And we're having next week, we're telling zip code 21217 that now is the time for you to wake up. You don't get your snow shovel, it's because you don't vote. We're not getting mail delivered. It's because you don't vote. You go to liquor stores, but you don't realize you got 50 liquor stores. We don't need any more liquor stores. We need some elected officials that represent us well. And I'm saying 95% of the elected officials we had during my time. I first registered to vote 50 years ago. And I'm saying it's been a failure. African-American Democrats, you have been a failure. If you're an elected official in Baltimore City, not all, but the overwhelming majority, you have let this community down. And we're in the mess that we're in today because your folks and our people have not done right by us. They have not done right by us. And we're next Tuesday, we want Black folks for the next 4 months to register to vote because we're going to have zip code 17. It's going to have an effect on the next election. We don't know which one it's going to be. Hopefully, House of Delegates, we get a new person, but we're going to say zip code 17. Wake up and start voting.
Right. So we have a governor's election coming up, and Donnie's got a question. Who we're looking at a governor, we see that Wes Moore has just officially put his thrown his hat into the race.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know of him. I don't know. I probably say I don't really know a lot of people, but it just seems to me that a lot of people are connected, and there's these cliques. And I kind of think he may be part of that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on who's running for governor right now?
Well, we can't do much worse. I know that sounds odd. I'm optimistic that some people like Wes Moore that have an impressive background that shows he cares about people of all ethnicities, that he has shown a history of being concerned. He's relatively young, but very experienced at his young age. I'm cautiously optimistic. I have sent him an email. I want to get a chance to meet him. I want to sit down and talk with him. I want to invite him to my community. Maybe he'll come Tuesday. I invited him and some other folks to come to our park on Tuesday. But we got to do better. We can't do much worse. I've lived here for 70 years, and I would honestly say Baltimore has never been in a worse condition than it is now. I've never seen it like that.
That is a problem because when I hear the words that you just used, young, and has some experience and background, that's what we thought we were getting in the city. And again, I don't want to attack this current administration because it's entrenched. And this current administration was mentored by the previous administration, and the previous administration was we're getting the same people. That's my thought on it. I'm very new to all of this, but I can tell you that it appears to me that everyone is entrenched, and I'm very cautious, and I would want to know who Mr. Moore is connected to. It sounds good, and Brandon sounded good, although I didn't vote for him or Jack Young. I will put that for the record because I felt like it was just old politics again, and I'm seeing it now. So
can I say something to the both of you? Why don't the two of you run? You're so intelligent. Why don't y'all run?
I don't think it's intelligence that's winning because we clearly see what's happening. It's not about intelligence. And I think that you have to be part of a political machine to win in this city. I think it's run, again, I'll go on the record. I think, people like Martin O'Malley still have their hands in a lot of our elected officials and mentoring them and mentoring them down the same path. That's why we see the same thing going on year after year after year. So again, this is an attack on this administration because, Jim Shea is the city solicitor. That's Martin O'Malley's man.
I'm so glad you brought up that name because I met this guy, Jim Shea, appointed by Martin O'Malley to be on the Maryland State Board of Education. This guy was the biggest nemesis for HBCUs. How in the heck does he get appointed as the solicitor? He has an awful history.
And he, under the solicitor, is my former office, the MBE program. So you have to wonder what he's going to do with minority participation on contracts.
Well, we need to watch him. He needs to know that he's being watched because
he knows I'm watching.
It's time for people to start stepping forward and putting their foot on their necks because this is ridiculous. Baltimore City, we gotta wake up. They gotta wake up.
Brandon running on this progressive ticket, running like he was so progressive. It's alarming to me that you pick that person as your city solicitor. Now, I know he ran as his lieutenant governor when he did run for governor. And so naturally, you see him as his city solicitor. I guess he owed him something. I don't know. But it just doesn't see, it's not in line with somebody that's, running around talking about Wu-Tang Clan, running around with an afro, and running around talking about, he's progressive or changing Columbus Day to Indigenous Day. It's like nothing matches. So Peter, how do we get real progressive people? I just don't see any in this city. Does the city have a future? What are we going to do? Or is this just the best we're going to get?
Well, I think we got to go where our educators are being educated. We got to look at Coppin. We got to look at Morgan. We know that there's some very bright young students going to those schools, including the other institutions as well. I'm a former HBCU person, so I'm a little prejudiced. I think we got to look. We got to reach back for the young people. Mentor them when we can. I didn't say dictate to them. Mentor them when we can. Let them make their own small mistakes. But we got to be optimistic. It's like, I know I never seen things as worse as they are now, but I have to be optimistic for my people to be successful. We're kings and queens. So we have gone through a lot throughout history, and I think we can get over this as well. But we got to stop fussing and fighting with each other. We do have differences, but we have to say what's for the common good. Set your differences aside when you can and try to make a compromise. I know that half of my community is in one zip code, half of my community is in another. I had to let them know we had to basically come together because we're all in this boat together, and we're going to sink or swim whether or not we come together. And if we don't come together, things are going to get worse. I don't believe we're where we are. We're about to get more homicides this year than ever.
Right. So we have a consent decree. We have a police commissioner that's making a lot of money. And where is the, where's the innovation in curing this problem? Like it's just very frustrating. And
they have to get to the root, Tamara. They don't want to get to the root. And one thing that I definitely want to applaud is REH Harrington. I believe I'm saying that correctly, that they're sponsoring a program for that the youth can learn apprenticeships and things. So the city needs more of that. You have these boys, they go to jail, they come out, they can't get jobs, they can't do this, they can't do that. You're giving all the jobs to all of these other states. So what are they supposed to do? But go back to that life of crime. So my thing is I employ, where's the job training? They need more job training. They need more parole.
Get that. Ari Harrington and Sons had to beg Scrabble. They've been treated so poorly as a Baltimore City minority contractor to even get to where they are today. We are not building up our minority businesses so that we employ ourselves, we give back to the community. When you ask these white out-of-state contractors how they're giving back to the community, they can't tell you. So if the city doesn't give us opportunities to make that money, to be in a position where Mr. Harrington is, where he can give back, and he gives back a lot, this is what you end up with. And so they were not able to win contracts. That's a $4.6 billion budget. Any business in America that's making that has that kind of budget, annual budget, is a huge business. I want to run a 4.2 or $4.6 billion business. And when you're running a business that big, and you can't even tell me what portion of that work goes to the majority race in the city, the businesses, something's wrong here.
I think we have failures in a lot of areas. I think education is one of those. It's appalling what we are paying educators to miseducate our children. How do you have over 10,000 boarded and vacant homes? There should not be a homeless problem in Baltimore City. There are some just fundamental issues that don't make sense. You know, we have 300 homicides a year. You can't find a mental health institution in Baltimore City. You know, I'm seeing kids, and you know, we saw kids doing just after the Freddie Gray riots. One of our kids got hit by a car and was killed. We know that it impacted the children that knew this kid. But we had to beg the U.S. government to come bring in some mental health people because these kids were traumatized. And we're saying there's just so many failures. I just think we need a crew of more intelligent, active young people to come. Us old folks, including me, I volunteer. I need to step the heck out of the way, let the young people do what they can. If they need some advice from me, good. But we old folks, we're in a lot of the mess that we're in today because to some degree, the baby boomers, we have failed us. Things were given too easy for us. You know, by then we could go to any school, we could go to any store, and we still may got discriminated against. But I think my generation had it too easy. Now the next generation, I think they know it too much. We got to find some way to bring us together because it's only going to get worse if we don't do better. It's only going to get worse.
Right. Yeah, I do hear a lot of people saying that we do need to have that mentorship, but I don't see it. You know, I don't see it. I talked to Nicole about that, and I asked her just yesterday. You're a young Black woman that is an entrepreneur that does a lot. Who in the community is mentoring you and supporting you? Nobody. You know, I'm trying to. You know, we're both activists at heart. I'm trying to be an activist. When I worked for the city, I didn't have a mentor. Who I thought was my mentor stabbed me in the back and fired me. Another Black woman. So it's like we don't have the support. So when people like Nicole or I do want to make a difference and change, we don't get the support. We actually get negativity from the other generation that's supposed to be supporting us, and we get no support. So that's why we don't see, so I see someone like Brandon going to maybe a Martin O'Malley for mentorship, and that's the problem. I mean, who else is mentoring somebody?
But we would love to have both of you any day, any time to come to our area, West Baltimore, Sandtown, Winchester, Harlem Park. I'm very impressed. I didn't know much about you two young ladies. I'm honored just to be on your show with you.
No, I'm honored to the point that I was gonna say, how much are those skateboards? Maybe if we ANC package it, we'll buy some skateboards for the kids, because we do try to give back to the community, not just where we are. So I'll definitely be in contact. And I did want to say my husband's a Sigma too.
Oh, who's your husband?
His name is Calvin Orr.
Calvin Orr, tell him I would love to meet my good brother.
Yes, they own AC Packing Shipping. And what's the address for your company?
1400 West Lombard. So I'm not that far away from you. We're right on Lombard and Calhoun.
Years ago, I would say you within walking distance. I can't even drive that far now. But y'all are very impressive. I heard a little bit about you. I never had the pleasure of meeting you, but our future looks bright because of you. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated from us old heads. Some of us, including me, won't be here much longer. We'll get out your way. And, it's sad when I look at most of the presidents in West Baltimore are my age and older. We need to step the heck out of the way and let you young folks come in. I just ask you and beg you, take some advice sometimes. I think that's the problem we've had with our mayors. They came in office and didn't listen to people. And I think the last 5 mayors have been a great failure, a great failure.
Oh, well, they're listening to somebody. They're listening to the same white people. So yeah. They're not listening to the community. Or to the real
I got punished by Martin O'Malley. He had his secretary call me up after he had become governor. I was running the election board for the city of Baltimore, and he sent a message, tell Doc Cheatham he don't get no more appointments.
Well, he's still punishing all of us. So how? And yeah, I said it. So so I mean, we're gonna wrap things up. But I did want to ask you about Coppin. Like you did talk about Coppin, and we lost the whole police academy that could have been there.
We got sold out by Kathy Pugh.
Okay.
Kathy Pugh made a deal with Kurt Smoke, president of the University of Baltimore, and she actually bartered and gave the University of Baltimore the police academy. That is a travesty. It is a travesty. There's still time to make that change, to bring it to Coppin. Coppin deserves to have the police academy there.
This administration. I'm sorry, I don't have. I'm just. I know you say we have to be positive, but I don't really have a lot of. I was saying before you came on the air. Everybody kind of voted on this, ran on this. Oh, I have experience. I've been in politics, and they're not doing anything. So I'm not impressed with the Sons of Baltimore. I'm just going to say to the camera, I'm not impressed with the Sons of Baltimore. There's some other sons, I would call them if I were in the presence of my friends. And it's Baltimore. They got to do a better job. I'm not giving them any time. The time is up. Time is up. So I'm ready to see some action.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What can we do to, I guess, to help Coppin State? Because see, I'm on action. Like I've had enough of, things just being by the wayside. What can we do to see whether or not that change? If it's still time, we need to be able to, if we can assist. If I got to go stand in front of Nick Mosby in them house with my picket sign and my bullhorn, what can we do to assist? Because we have to do something.
I would say this, though you may not have attended Coppin, I'm glad to hear you want to do something for Coppin. Coppin is in jeopardy. We need to become friends of Coppin. Look at some of the shortcomings that it has. It has had a few. I've been back here since 1968, so I go back quite a ways. It has its challenges. But it's teaching our kids. Some of the greatest educators come out of Coppin. Some of the greatest nurses are coming out of Coppin.
Who's the president? I'm sorry to interrupt. Who's the president? And what are your thoughts on the?
It's a new president. He took over probably about 4 months ago. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and one of the suggestions I gave him, and he was very open to it, was that how can you have BCCC, which also has a nursing program. Coppin has had the longest nursing program, and you don't put the COVID issue at Coppin. You got teachers and people are being trained to be nurses that need to give the vaccinations. Why not have? And I spoke to the president about 4 months ago, and he was very receptive. I'm very optimistic, but we need help. Coppin is our mainstay. Of course, I love Morgan too. If I got a football scholarship, I would have gone to Morgan. But Coppin needs help. But our children are going there. Our children need to go there, but it needs some friends of Coppin to help them. And we need to be honest. You know, I want to say one thing. It doesn't reflect on the administration or the professors. Too many of them get a paycheck from Coppin, and they are afraid to tell the truth. Coppin should have gotten that police academy. But the problem was you got people that were being paid by Coppin that could not tell the truth. We got professors right now. You got students and professors scared to buck up against this guy because he's been there so long. And I'm saying a part of the problem is us.
Yeah, we're very afraid. We're always afraid. And I think it's more protecting jobs and positions and paychecks, and it's not. And when you do things for the people, you don't care about any of that, and we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have that.
Thank y'all so much for having me. This was a pleasure. I'm sorry that I usually do about 3 Zoom meetings a day. So I think probably my last Zoom that I was on probably had the wrong button pushed because I do Zoom meetings quite often. So I'm sorry that we were a little delayed, but this was an honor. This was an honor.
We're going to have you again. Our viewers know we're going to have it again for the full hour, and we'll talk about. You have a vote. Just tell us once again on next week. You have a voter registration drive. Can you just put that information back out again, and then
voter registration will be Tuesday. The location is in the 1500 block of McKean. We have a parking playground called Easterwood Sandtown Parking Playground. It starts at 5:45. It goes to 7. We've invited everyone from zip code 17 and anyone interested. We want to turn around this whole concept of zone 17 being the worst zip code in the United States. We want to turn it around, but it starts with folks realizing they can do better, but it starts with voting and educating ourselves. And we're asking folks, please come help us. 5:45 p.m. It is a tough neighborhood. We are the Freddie Gray area, but some great people came from there. Vashti McKenzie, President Tamara Dobson, Billie Holiday.
I'm named after Tamara Dobson. Oh wow!
Oh, you kidding? Tamara used to live on Benton Street.
Yeah. So Nicole and I know I'm going to be there. I believe Nicole's going to be there as well. So we're going to be there to support. Absolutely. I will see you on Tuesday.
Have you ever seen our park?
Have I ever seen what?
Have you ever seen our park that we built?
I don't think I have.
It's called the McKean Miracle. It's called the McKean Miracle because it's one of the worst places you ever seen 5 years ago. Now we got people coming from out of the United States to try to mimic what we built. And we're saying it's all God. It's all God working through us. That's all.
I can't wait to see it.
Thank you,
Thank
Marvin,
you
for your time.
If you don't invite me back, I'm going to pick it.
We're going to have you back.
We're going to pick it. We'll be out there.
There in the next 30 days because we've got a lot to talk about, and I think we're all on the same sheet of music, and we definitely want to have you back on again so we can talk more about the community. You have so much knowledge that we want to share that with the community.
Is that a nice way of saying you're old?
Oh, I don't know. You are at all. I don't think you are at all. Thank you so much for your time, though. We really, really,
God bless you, and thank you both, and have a great year. A great year. We need y'all. We need y'all to be successful.
Oh, I'm going to be calling you off the book now. So
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
2 Wednesdays from now, we have Delegate Regina T. Boyce coming on to talk about her district. She's going to bring some folks with her, and she's going to talk about a first term in Annapolis. So I look forward to having you all view the show. Nicole, you want to take us out?
Basically, I just want to challenge everyone that's within hearing my voice to get involved, get informed, know who your representatives are, know what they are doing, and let's start to apply a little bit of pressure, because what happened today cannot continue to happen. We all must challenge ourselves to say, if we're really going to talk about equity, equity should include everybody. Last time I looked at the equal sign, it meant on this side and this side we're equal, not only they get it, because that, to me, I thought that was the less than sign. I may be wrong because I'm not a mathematician, but my thing is that equal means on both sides. So if you're going to say equality, let's make sure that we have some.
Absolutely. And make sure you look at the budget that was finally approved line by line, see where the city is spending money, and watch the Board of Estimates every Wednesday at 9 on Charm TV. Make sure you are aware of how the city is spending your money. Because if you don't pay your taxes, unlike what people were threatening to do, you're going to get your house taken away from you. So just know, please be aware of what is going on, and don't let these politicians fool you, and do not give them another vote if they don't do what they're supposed to do. Hold them accountable. Go back and look at those debates, look at what they talked about, and see what they're doing today. Get angry. It is time to get angry. Our city is on fire, and we are the only ones that can put it out. Let's put this fire out. We got 3 years. Let's put them all out of office. Thank you all.
Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang.
You and the Wu-Tang. Good night.